So by now, we should all know that basically Cortana is in a lot of trouble.
Nav,
She's gone
as
completely
soon as you know
rampant
we're
and is
airtight,
pretty much
I want
totally
a core
corrupted.
plate into Carinate
And
Station.
this began as far
Prepare a
back
warning
as
beacon.
Halo 3 actually. But as we all know, playing through the newer Halo games from 343, Cortana's Rampancy pretty much got really bad. It started off with, just a few artificial hiccups, so to speak, here and there.
Commander
But
Lasky.
as the game progressed in Halo
Visual
4,
Document 55
we
and
witnessed
Fluid
that
SC
Cortana's
Regulations
Rampancy
12-14572.
got a lot
I'm
worse,
ordering you
and
to remove that AI
eventually
data
she got to the
chip
point
and
where
retire it for final dispensation.
Captain Del Rio had ordered her to be deleted,
Remove the
because
chip
that's what
now, Commander.
you're supposed to do with AIs in the UNSC after they go rampant. But as I said, over the game, she gets progressively worse and loses the ability to control herself, and starts to develop like multiple personalities or like corrupt personalities, and even argues with those different personalities. And these are all part of the several stages of rampancy according to Halo lore. And by the events of Halo 5, she's basically, I don't know, the best way to describe it is that she totally lost it. At the end of Halo 4, it seemed like she died, so to speak, but apparently she had survived, and in Halo 5, somehow her rampancy, when gone unchecked, completely turned her into like something else, someone else that we don't recognize. She basically has gone power mad and wants to control the entire galaxy, to put it simply. And all this is basically due to her unchecked rampancy and the corruption of her data, essentially. Now, what is the real reason she's corrupted? There's many theories, but before we get to those, let me just explain to you a principle called Occam's razor, which basically states that the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. Now, in older versions of Windows and other computers, you had to safely eject your flash drives or any other hardware. You guys, I don't know if you remember that, because these are like much older versions of Windows in some cases, but even new ones, you still have to do the same.
Okay, I'm coming with you.
So you might be thinking, what does this have to do with
Chief, Sentinels.
Cortana being corrupted? When there's all these theories about her, logic plague and other fantasy things. Well, basically, if you look closely, there are many times in Halo 3.
We'll make it.
Not just Halo 3. In all the Halo games, except for Halo 2, because I'll get to that in a second. That's a little different. But in many Halo games, 1, 3, and 4, you'll notice that Master Chief or other characters just simply pull Cortana out of her slot without safely ejecting her. And another reason why she, another issue with her chip is, and I explained this in a previous video, but there are several occasions where Master Chief inserts Cortana into his head the wrong way. He basically inserts the chip sideways, as you can see if you look very closely. And this goes back to Halo 1 as well. Back in Halo 1, he just sticks the chip basically into the side of his head instead of the back where the port is. So he's basically using brute force to cram the chip into somewhere where it's not supposed to go into.
Absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're
Now, you might be thinking at this point, well, that's ridiculous.
This is the
landing future. You don't need to
Upload them
safely
to my
eject
neural laser.
chips anymore.
And then sort
No, we don't
yourself
really
out.
safely eject flash drives anymore today.
Aye, sir.
But there is a precedent to
Which is where you come in.
all this.
Get
And going back to
Cortana
Halo
off
1,
this
there
ship. Keep her
is
safe from the enemy. If they
proof that
capture her, they'll
Cortana
learn
does
everything.
need to be safely
Force
ejected.
deployment, weapons
So let's watch this
research.
cutscene a little closely, and listen closely too.
I understand.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Alright, so as you saw there, Captain Keyes told her to get ready to be ejected, and he presses a lot of buttons on the computer and the console before he finally ejects her. And here in this scene, if you look closely, Master Chief also types on the console a little bit before he ejects Cortana. So there's clearly precedent to
Chief, Sentinels.
safely ejecting her. However, as you saw in later parts of the mission and in future Halo games, that's basically never touched on again. And Master Chief just simply yanks her out of whatever she's plugged into and then plugs into other things. And of course, that could possibly cause corruption. Now today, I know like you might be thinking that we can just simply unplug flash drives today without safely ejecting. But technically, there's always that slight chance that it could cause corruption to your files, especially if it hasn't been fully saved yet, or if it's like in the middle of being processed. Then in that case, it could be corrupted after a while. So, you know, he does this many times with Cortana, and it's simply, you know, not a good idea. Even though in the future the technology has probably evolved a lot better, it's shown, as you just saw, that you do need to safely eject Cortana from whatever computer system she's in. Now, as for the other part of this theory, when I mentioned that her chip has been inserted the wrong way several times, as you see here, this chip that Master Chief uses, there's obviously like gold connector pins on one end and rigged edges to like hold the chip on the other end. And if we watch here in super slow motion, frame by frame, you can see as Master Chief inserts the chip, he is holding it sideways, meaning the gold connector pins are facing left in this case. Actually, no, they're facing right instead of facing forward. And while they're facing right, you can see they're still facing right here. Master Chief essentially just crams the chip in sideways. So just imagine you have an SD card. You know you're supposed to plug it in forwards, but just imagine what if you try to cram your SD card in sideways. Now it won't fit, but just imagine if you use brute force to cram your SD card in sideways. Well, first of all, it won't work. But even if for some reason it did, you'd probably like destroy everything on the chip and inside the computer. So that is not a good idea, and I'm sure Cortana's pins can't handle that either. And as you just see here, you do need to insert Cortana's chip in a certain direction. A lot of people in the previous video said maybe the technology has changed and you can insert it whatever direction you want. But you can clearly see here that his chip is inserted forward in a certain direction. And in other cutscenes, it is always in this direction. This is the way the chip is meant to be inserted. Those gold connector pins are meant to go inside the helmet first. That is how that chip works. It basically is the same principle as an SD card today. And here we have another scene where, well, first of all, she's not being... Actually, she's not on a chip now, but still, even if she was, Johnson didn't know, and would not have safely ejected her chip regardless. But as you can see, the way he pulled it out, the gold pins came out last. Meaning the gold pins on the chip are supposed to be in that direction. So that is how we know that Master Chief has been inserting Cortana into his head the wrong way, particularly in Halo 3, and as you saw earlier in Halo 1. So these two factors combined, not safely ejecting Cortana and physically inserting her chip the wrong way, is a surefire way to pretty much corrupt data, or to even destroy her completely. Now, you may be asking, what about the 7-year thing where UNSC AIs go rampant? Well, as I mentioned earlier, there are 4 stages to rampancy, and those are melancholia, anger, and jealousy. But the 4th stage is called metastability, and as you can see here, it basically means that an AI can recover completely from rampancy and become like a true sentient being, or more human-like. And it was believed before 343's canon kicked in that Menachem Baez, Cortana, and another UNSC AI called Juliana were the only AIs to have achieved metastability, meaning that she would have transcended that 7-year limitation of UNSC AI. And there's evidence of this too in Halo 3. So when the Grapevine was torturing her, she pretty much did go rampant, and you can see plenty of evidence throughout Halo 3 that she's gone totally rampant. But after Master Chief gives her a little pep talk, she basically recovers from it. And you see, her data starts streaming again. She gets more lively, so to speak. And she, like earlier, she even told Master Chief that he was probably too late because there's too much of her like totally wrong and out of place, meaning corrupt.
I'm so sorry.
But it seems like she recovered, and ever since then, she seems to have displayed a lot more emotion, you know, like more human-like emotion than she's ever displayed in any of the previous Halo games. And that's leading up to Halo 4, where she even displays like the emotion of love, which she's never shown anything like in the previous Halo games at all. And now she's, you know, much more sentient than most other UNSC AI, which does suggest that she did achieve metastability, even in Halo 4. So really, that 7-year limitation should not really have applied to her anymore. And if it doesn't apply to her, then obviously she had to get corrupted some other way and end up as this monster in Halo 5. I know it's odd to think that the main reason why Cortana became like this is simply due to Master Chief's mishandling of her chip, be it like never safely ejecting her or physically cramming it in the wrong way. But that is even today a really, you know, common way to corrupt data, and that is why it's still recommended that you safely eject your flash drives today, even though in most cases nothing bad would happen. But you know, if you're not careful, you could still corrupt data because it's a small chance. So this is what I believe to be the true reason that Cortana is corrupted. I know, like, you know, other YouTubers have all these Halo lore theories about, you know, the logic plague and other reasons why Cortana may be corrupted. But as I said with Occam's Razor, it is the simplest explanation that is usually the one that makes the most sense or the most likely. And in this case, you know, there's all these fascinating theories, but it's just, I think it's just simply that Cortana is, you know, corrupt because Master Chief simply did not safely eject her. And that's basically all there is to that theory. Plain and simple. So, I hope you guys, you know, found that interesting and eye-opening. If you guys did enjoy that, make sure you leave a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I would like to hear what you guys think about this, or if you have anything else you want to add to the theory. You know, it's definitely up for discussion. Like I said, it's a theory, and I believe it's a very possible theory because it's one of the simpler theories. And I do think it makes a lot of sense. But, you know, leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll even like discuss it with some of you. So make sure you know, post any questions you have or other thoughts. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We've got a lot more things we like to talk about and show you in the future with revisits and so on. So really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, for those of you who are still watching for some reason, time for some puns. So, why was Cinderella thrown off the basketball team? Because she ran away from the ball. I've also been on a seafood diet recently, because every time I see food, I eat it. Get it? Well, alright, see you guys.